I need
Pretty
to,
good.
I
Except
need to rig
when it comes
the
to
bombs
Balan
and then
Wonderworld.
open.
Hopefully this will help a little bit. Is it helping? You're doing anything at all?
It still looks choppy for some reason. I'm not sure if you're running
Yeah.
anything in the
Why?
background.
The model is just too good. That's why.
Maybe it's your internet.
How many Google Chrome tabs do you have open?
Oh, there's 13 people.
I think it's my internet is what it is.
I was gonna say that could be the other thing.
Let me close that. Yeah, it seems like the internet is probably peaking.
The model is so good your eyes can't see how good it is.
Mm-hmm. I know for a fact it's not my PC. The GPU is fine. The CPU is fine.
Mm.
Oh no,
yeah,
the GPU is maxing out a little bit. I was looking at the CPU.
I think it's something with Unreal.
Yeah, I think Unreal is just
Unreal is having real problems with GPUs recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, the prongs on that bomb will be closed when you throw it, and then when it finds a target or something, it'll spring open like that.
Mm-hmm.
Make an X foil. So that bomb's going to get a slight redesign.
It will.
Oh, there's other things we've done to the bombs too. We show off.
Such
if you can
as
throw 'em off.
like what?
I mean, you could. Okay, geez, give me a second. I was just gonna say, like, you can show that you can now hit them.
No, we already did that. That was last stream.
Yeah.
That was last stream?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's... Okay, I remember why I don't remember
It was
that.
bomb bouncing.
Okay.
We did it already, Emmanuel. Jeez.
Okay, sorry. You guys know why I don't remember that stream very well.
I can't blame you. I can't remember, like, 2 days ago anyway.
Alright. I guess you can show it the splitter bomb if you want. I know that's not something like you
We showed that off as well.
last stream.
Yes, we did. Because you implemented that at the same time.
He's like, geez, so what do we talk about?
I did all the animations for Tails throwing as well. Like you showed off the
let's show
flying
off some
ones.
of these animations. Let's give
Yeah.
You showed off
give
the flying
Viv
ones,
a
but
round of
the
applause for these
standing one.
animations.
We're not using it right now. But Tails does have. Was it this one here? There's an
I
idle
think
carry.
so, yeah.
You have an idle carry and an idle throw. So this animation will be playing whenever Tails carries an item. We don't have it quite yet finished because it needs to be part of a blend space. That way Tails can still run around while carrying the bomb.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Look at the fluidity.
Here's a little throw animation. There's a little excited toss.
There's a little hop.
Yep.
And throws it.
So here, take this.
Yeah, it's a very short animation because it needs to be snappy for it to work.
I love his.
So
I
kind
love
of
his emotion.
It's kind of small and quick.
Another thing, Silver can.
It's having an existential crisis.
Silver can. Let's see here.
Silver can now.
Free flight. You can use the free flight code that Tails has.
Oh, I was going to say something else, but okay.
You can.
Ooh.
Yep.
Wow.
That works pretty. I'm surprised how well that works for him.
Because it was originally designed for him.
Yes.
But no, like that's not the reason why I'm surprised. Like, remember, I made this for Metal Sonic, and I just slapped the code into Flight Parent.
Fizz designed it for Silver, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. The move was originally designed for Silver. Whenever I came up with the concept last year sometime, but we didn't have any Silver assets or anything like that. So you implemented it into Metal Sonic.
I implemented Metal Sonic because I thought it just sounded cool. You guys are forgetting the reason I did it. I'm not saying it was only for Metal Sonic, but like when I made it, I was just I was making it for Metal Sonic. You know what I mean. So once again, I'm just surprised it works so well. Was like as the guy who coded it, I'm just surprised it works so fluidly with Silver.
Mm-hmm.
He needs a wind up animation, which is something we'll be doing next time.
All Tails does too.
His animation work still needs a little bit of work in terms of like the actual transitioning, not just the charge up, but like the transitioning out of it still needs a little bit of work. well.
Yeah, and the flight code also needs some work too. Mostly just bug fixes and like making it more configurable so every characters can have different like parameters when they're flying, like charge up time, speed, turning rate.
For the free flight, yeah.
Free flight, yes.
This flight, oh, that's another thing. Under the hood, I changed it. Silver's hovering now actually uses excuse me. Silver's hovering actually uses the same flight variables that Tails does whenever he flies. So
Interesting.
Silver used to have his own variables. Now he uses the flight parents variables, which is now
he
all
just has a
uniform.
flight parent.
Yeah, we got to get the UI to function a little bit better. We got to make some adjustments to it so that way it can pop up a different UI asset rather than the default one. That way Silver can have his own, like, stamina bar rather than the normal flight stamina bar that Tails uses. Which hopefully we'll get that done before this update. I don't know if we will. We at the very least need to get it functional. As for whether or not we'll make it modular or not, we'll have to see. But as you saw there, the flight meter was not functional.
Yeah.
You were still draining stamina, it's just no visual for it.
There's no visual for it. Eventually I'll run out. Like so.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think, like, maybe we may change our mind, but like, since Tails can gain height while he's flying, like, he's limited to around 6 seconds, I believe, right? To his flight time?
8. He has 8 seconds of flight timer.
Do you think Silver should, like, since Silver can't gain height with hovering, do you think it should last longer in theory? Or do you think Silver's other mechanics support it being around the same time?
Silver's flight mechanic is tied to his speed. The slower he goes, the longer it will last. No, actually, it's the inverse. The faster he goes, the longer it'll last, if I remember correctly. I don't believe it lasts exactly 8 seconds. It might last a little bit less. We could probably adjust it so that it will last longer, but we'll have to. So, like, that's just mainly playtesting stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Silver can now free flight. He uses the same under the hood code that Tails uses whenever he flies, rather than his own variables, which makes Silver's flying code more uniform, according to, like, the flight parent and stuff. There's a couple of bugs, as you saw, where after free flying he couldn't fly again, and after hovering he couldn't fly again, which involves the refilling of the stamina. I think I know what that problem is. I didn't realize it was an issue, but I fix that relatively easily.
You can show up the spawner now too, unless there's something else I'm missing.
The spawner?
Yeah, the enemy spawner.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we did that already last time.
No, there's no way you added in that new functionality 2 weeks ago.
You did.
I mean, yeah, I did.
With it disabling and enabling the enemies?
Oh, well, yeah, some of it's working better. Like, enemies will properly not have any collision. They won't be able to track you, and you can't interact with them when they're inactive. Like, if they're invisible upon spawn, you can't interact with them. So technically, that's not really the spawner. That is the enemies themselves now have a slightly more functionality in that situation or manner, But, yeah, we already showed off the whole actually pairing enemies to the spawner thing. We showed that off 2 weeks ago, so that's not necessarily new. Let's see here. We could show off Blaze. Because me and Reese touched up Blaze a little bit, her visuals.
I was about to say, rephrase that, please.
Touched up her visuals.
Yeah, you touched up Blaze. Jeez.
You have a fish? No, that doesn't do anything at the moment. So, 2 main things. We've touched up the textures on her model. Reese went in and actually changed the coloring of her.
The ears were originally very, very
pale
yellow.
Now they're
the
same color as everyone else's ears. And we made a discovery the other day when we was working on this. Blaze is one of 2 Sonic characters whose muzzle does not match the color of the inside of their ears.
If you can guess the other character, you get one of Fizz's fishies.
There's one other character whose muzzle does not fit the color of the inside of their ear.
We also changed the color of the suit and
Yes, the
trim of it.
the purple parts of the suit and the magenta trim has been darkened a little bit, so it's less washed out. And we did adjust her actual fur a little bit. It is slightly darker than it used to be, but we still need to touch it up a little bit more. Tails. Nope, not Tails. Tails' muzzle and the inside of their ears are actually the same color. Also, how are you doing today, 3D? Hope you're doing well. We did touch up the shoes a little bit. We found out that another probably more well-known fun fact about Blaze is her 3D rendering. Her shoes in official 3D renders are, what color would you call it? Like a crimson?
I would say a wine red.
Like a wine red kind of crimson, but in all of her official 2D art, it's like magenta pink. So, but her,
yeah, you're right.
Her shoes are a little bit darker. Were they darker or are they bright? No, I think I made them brighter. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I made them a little bit brighter. They used to be like really dark.
Next update, Blaze's mesh along with Shadow and Metal Sonics is going to get replaced with newer meshes like Tails and Knuckles has this update.
Good so far. That's good here. Yeah, Sonic, Blaze, Shadow, and Metal Sonic are going to get updated meshes in the next update, not this Colorful Combat one.
Yeah, and that will help.
Excuse me.
Like, gonna try and reduce the amount of materials on everyone as much as possible, and also, what you call it? The rigs, yeah, like the rigs are supposed to be cleaner. I don't know if Unreal though, when you export them, will still mess them up slightly, but
it probably will. But it'll at the very least be more organized, hopefully.
Yeah.
What was you saying, Bane?
Oh no, I just noticed. Sorry, I just came back. I didn't want to announce that I was leaving, and then I came back, and now I saw Blaze, and I was like, "Oh, shiny!"
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The changes we made to Blaze. Her suit is less washed out. It's darker, so the hem and the actual main part of her top is less washed out, much darker. Her ears.
Character that really matters.
Vibrant.
Yeah, a little more vibrant. Her ears are the proper color. They're not weirdly yellow. They're the same color as everyone else's now.
Yeah.
And, her shoes are a little brighter instead of dark. So the only thing that really needs updated with her in terms of like, the visuals is her actual fur. Her fur probably needs to be darkened slightly. Still a little bright and washed out.
Well, is that because of just the lighting overall?
It's Unreal's lighting. It's just kind of
Unreal's lighting is very bright.
The only character that matters, Blaze. Yes, she's the only character that matters. I think many people asked you this, but will you add the Unleashed drift animations or update a little? It doesn't rotate. Oh, it feels like it needs an upgrade. We actually do have those animations. Or no, we have one of the animations.
We have the right drift animation for some reason, but not the left.
Don't really know why we don't have the left one. We would have to mirror it, which we know back then whenever we were setting up the drift, we wasn't entirely sure how to mirror it. The only way we could properly mirror the animations with like some expensive plugins that we didn't want to get. We do know a better method of mirroring it now, so we might do that, but it won't be for this update. We might do it in the next update. But we do want to give people the option to use the Unleashed drift animations if they want. It just won't be in this update. But in the next update, we're going to see about either getting the actual mirrored animation or we're just going to mirror it ourselves, which, either way, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. It's a lot of animation stuff that hasn't really been addressed. So specifically with older characters.
We know how to manually mirror animations now. So it shouldn't take too long to do, theoretically.
Is this the same method you use for mirroring that Knuckles animation I needed mirroring?
Yeah.
Okay.
It should theoretically work the exact same way. But yeah, that will be done probably in the next update, not this one. And like I said, unless we can get the actual ripped left drift animation, we'll most likely just mirror this one. Speaking of, where is that?
I don't know. We also need the
Isn't-
short hop animation, which we have. We
No,
still
the
have
short
to
hop
implement it.
is there. It's just in the base content browser area.
What is this? That ain't it.
Oh, that's a custom animation. It's always been there.
What is that?
That ain't it. Some Oban animation.
He said no way.
Oban
Right.
meme.
Sonic said that's no good.
That ain't it, man.
That's no good.
You need to say Persona 5 music is trash? That ain't it.
The lighting, is there any lighting whatsoever in the default like menu right there?
When you the
like in
asset
the-
browser.
When you look in the animations? 'Cause for
Yes.
some reason, I love the colors more there.
Yeah, this
They
is
don't-
what
they
the
don't-
colors are supposed to look like, but in like actual in gameplay, Unreal's lighting changes in that. So, or like the default lighting changes, we could alter the lighting, obviously. But that's a bitch. Changing Unreal's lighting can be a bitch sometimes.
Sonic 4 physics.
I feel like you should alter the lighting before altering like the colors on anyone else, because then on
Well,
different
We won't
lighting.
know. We won't know what other lighting settings people are going to use. So if we can make the characters look good in the default lighting, then if people want to change the lighting, they can in the future, and then change the materials from there. Because if we change the lighting, then instead of using the default lighting, then that's the lighting everyone else is going to use right from the start, even though they may not want it. And it'd probably be a lot easier to change things from the default settings than from a bunch of altered settings.
Hey, Michael.
The skin on him looks very pale. That's because this is the Generations material.
The Generations material. It was also what's on Blaze. So for some reason, skin tones are really weirdly either sickly yellow or like just some sort of weird color. Because in Generations, they'll obviously do some sort of shader or lighting trick to make it look more normal.
Which, if I remember right, we go to Knuckles, for example. Knuckles uses Forces materials, doesn't he?
He does now, yes. Forces.
Looks a little bit better.
He also
What's
doesn't. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, he still looks kind of pale.
Yeah, it still looks a little pale.
It's skinned.
It's skin.
Oh, by the way, one thing I did forget actually is that you can, if you want, show off the splitter bomb with Tails.
What about it?
I say if you want. I'm saying you can show that off if you want.
No. Shadow's got more of them.
See, that color is so nice on him.
Yeah. But I
It's
also
not like-
I also just like the black that Reese did. Or edited these
I
colors.
changed the material around because originally the engine had a lot of white flanelling around it.
Yeah.
I toned it down.
I forget, which one was the model that you guys said that had or that I said that had really nice colors to it? The one where it was like kind of like this brighter cyan.
Might have been Tigers.
Yeah, that was
Oh.
Tigers. That's Tigers model.
Oh, the colors on that gorgeous. 100% gorgeous.
Tails, all these material changes are old. These aren't new. Especially this one.
They're obviously different, but
Yeah. But what's actually new, Michael, is the only ones that have actual material changes that are new are Blaze. Blaze is the only one with actually new changes to their design or to their look. Because
I mean, from the last release, isn't there a bunch of material changes though?
yeah, but I'm just talking about since last update. I'm pretty sure we've gone over all the other material changes in the past, like Shadow. I know we've gone over Shadows and Knuckles' and Tails.
Yeah. A refresher is nice though.
Yeah. I guess to give a short refresher, Blaze's ears are now a better color. Her suit is more vibrant, less washed out. Her shoes are a little bit brighter. She just, in general, looks nicer than what she used to look like. Tails, if we swap back to Tails, has a new New aiming arc for the bombs, like so. He also has a new animation that plays for bombs while flying. Oh, that's a problem. That's not right.
Oh,
Everything's all right.
I'll have to see what that's all about. Oh, I know what that problem is.
it's a camera aiming thing, I think.
Yeah, it's the camera aiming thing. Which
There we are.
I thought I had implemented something for that. Guess I didn't. Tails also has a couple new models for the bombs. We got a little ball one right here. Another one that might be used for the balloons, like this top part might pop off and a balloon might come out. We don't know. We'll haven't decided what to use with this one.
The balloon one that you saw earlier was just like I'm like just strewn together with existing models.
There's this one here, which is
Homing.
homing bomb, which is neat. And Silver can also do the free flight mode now, and he uses the same flight code under the hood that Tails does. That's basically all we've shown off so far. Oh, there's also Tails' little animations that aren't being used at the moment. Got a little idle carry animation, which is adorable. He looks like he's got something in his hands. We're not using it just yet because we gotta get a blend space up for him.
And then there's also the throw.
There's a little hop with the throw. So can the Unreal Lighting Engine...
Yeah, it can be changed.
Yeah, it can be changed. We're just not going to be changing it too much. Because like I said, it's going to be using the default, or at least as default as we can go. Sometimes we are going to have to change things or else it's just going to look like ass.
Yeah, like the settings we're using right now aren't technically default because we have a post-processing volume in there, right?
Yeah, we do. That, and there's also the good sky, which changes some of it.
Yeah, like if you go to Seagate, for instance, the lighting there is different because we implemented like different volumes, and it changes depending where you are in the level too.
Yeah,
but that's something you would like if you want to change the light, that's something you would have to do because it's not like we implemented code specifically for doing it.
Yeah.
You should try that out. Having 3 different lighting settings for people: night, sunset, and day.
Oh, I mean that wouldn't be hard. It just probably for another update.
Yeah. Let's see here. What else have we worked on? Let me look at the GitHub real quick.
What's
Wait,
GitHub?
what?
Yeah, I'm looking at. I definitely the over the shoulder thing was before the update, but the splitter bombs are not. I mean, before the last death stream.
You sure?
Yeah, dude, I put in the splitter bomb on the 20th.
All right.
Okay.
Well, there was this bomb that Emmanuel created I call it the cluster bomb. He calls it the splitter bomb for some reason.
Yes.
Oh, you'll see why.
But essentially, the bomb, whenever it hits an enemy, will split into another bomb. Like so.
Ow.
Yeah,
And
it also splits when you hit it.
Yeah. If I hit it, pop, it'll split into 2 bombs.
Yep.
Like so.
And and if you if you target enemy with the bombs, it will split, and then the split bombs will hit that enemy again, which is kind of cool.
Assuming they survive.
Oh yeah, you should probably find a beefier enemy.
Does the
That's weird. It didn't do it.
does the bomb speed change when you hit it versus when you don't?
Oh, whenever you bounce it?
Yeah. Does it start off slow and then get faster as you bounce it?
The way I made it with bouncing bombs in general is that it is based upon your velocity. For the most part, it will stay the same, but it will also first, if you have a really slow bomb, you hit it will speed up. That kind of stuff. So the velocity does change slightly, but it's more so just it doesn't. When you hit the bombs, it makes sure they don't go below 2,000. It's mostly a direction change.
Why did those bombs just veer off to the right?
It's just due to the angle that I hit them, whenever I bounced them.
Yeah, for the most part, they'll go in a direction Tails is facing, but if they're off to the side of him, they will go to left and right and stuff like that.
So you can create a lot of cluster bombs with it.
Yeah, it was just something I threw together because I was testing out the bombs one day. I was like, what if we had a bomb that took advantage of Tails being able to like smack them?
Oh.
And you can technically bounce almost any bomb. So if I like threw the remote bomb here and I kicked it, it would then fly to an enemy and stick to it like so.
Yep. Also, it is amazing to stick multiple like sticky bombs onto an enemy, especially with the Tails model. You can just have like you just swarm them. It's kind of funny to me.
Well, Living in the City just started playing on my YouTube playlist. Well
Living
then.
in the city.
Get up off of me!
I've also taken quite a bit of time and removed all of the old enemies from like the levels and stuff. This lineup of enemies right here is all that's left.
He killed them all except for these.
So is Tails yellow or orange?
He's technically
He's Dandelion.
Tails used to be
Amber.
yellow. He used to be like piss yellow, but we changed him a little while back.
Oh yeah.
I'm thankful for that.
Oh yeah, that's right. When I mentioned that he looked like a highlighter yellow.
Trust me, baby, you weren't the only one, and I was annoying Reese about it.
Guess you could say he's the highlight of the stream.
Ow. Ow. Okay, you know what? Where's that gif from Yakuza where he slams the desk? Because I need that right now. I'll just do myself.
I will also, just another recapping, the attenuation we added to Tails' little tail sound effect whenever he runs or flies. So the closer the camera is, the faster it gets, or the louder it gets versus further away.
Yeah, attenuation things are actually really useful for like making sounds feel more rooted in the world. Because it makes it so that, you know, the further away you are, you can change the attenuation settings of certain sound effects so that some of the sound effects stick longer and you can hear them from further away.
So it gets quieter versus getting louder when it comes in. The actual volume of it hasn't changed. It is it's still the same volume, which I might turn it down. It's kind of low, kind of loud.
Yeah, I think it's kind of loud too. But then again, we have to try. If you're trying the music, you have to see how loud it is because you're not really supposed to play the game without music, unless it's this.
I don't like testing with music on it.
Is Tails gonna get that classic type spin look to him, where the tails are like detached from his ball form?
We considered something like that at one point, but didn't we decide against it due to just the fact that we'd have to alter the mesh or something? Or
I think we just didn't do it because we didn't get around to it. But that's a Reese question. You would know what we decided.
That's why I was talking about it. I was trying to get Reese's attention because he's the one that looked into it.
Like for what?
Tails' spin ball animation and the spin dash, like how in the classic games his tails are essentially dislodged from his body.
Yeah.
Bane was asking if that's a thing we're gonna do. Which I
was going to do eventually. I remember though you thought it didn't look good.
I don't know, something about his tails just like flipping out like that looks funny to me.
If we don't end up doing that, we are going to be adjusting the spin dash. So like I'll be adjusting the spin dash animation so the tails don't freak the fuck out like that, you know? So if we don't end up doing the whole detaching his tails from his body, we will be adjusting the animation so it doesn't look so weird.
Yeah, I guess you could say, to answer everyone's question, what we're going to do, well, to answer Bane's question, what we're going to do with the tails is currently under consideration.
Yeah. Depending on what we can get away with, we have two different plans. So.
Yep.
Tails is neither yellow or orange. He's blue, obviously. I mean, yeah, this is obviously blue.
People who are blue-yellow colorblind right now.
Something we could probably start doing in later streams, by the way, is start going over what we've done previously more. Because considering that our streams usually last 2 hours, it would be kind of weird if we said like, oh, other people have to watch all of our other streams and get caught up. We can probably like, since we're probably going to be polishing way more stuff like that, we could probably spare some time to do recaps and showcases and other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get that quick recap, that 1 minute recap.
All right. Well, before we do that, I did want to mention we don't have a whole lot to show off today anyway. We've almost shown everything off that we need to. The main reason is that because all the work that we've been doing is under the hood. Like, we've just been doing patchwork, fixes, updates, other things of the sort, so that way, whenever we release, it will actually function. Which is why we don't have a whole lot to show off today.
Yeah, especially like Reese added a lot of visual things that we've seen. Fizz has been on the clock also, like fixing and bug fixing and updating a lot of things, making things more cleaning up a lot of things.
I've been pushing a change like every single day. I've been fixing something every single day.
You've been on a grind. I really appreciate it. I know I haven't really been available because of school, especially.
Yeah.
But like this is like you've been doing a lot to make the game like.
I mean, just today I updated the Wisps damage code. They used to use the old default Unreal damage code. Now they're using our new damage code with the new explosion hitboxes. I just updated that today.
Yeah.
Which is the push that you guys got earlier today before the stream. So.
Yeah, it was funny because like at one point, Fizz texted me and said, "Hey, I think the explosion code damage is messing up the Wisps," and I got really scared because like I was like, "Oh no, is something like did I break something by adding the new explosion code?" But it turns out it was not that, and I was so relieved.
It was the energy drop code, which, like, after watching, you saw the video, didn't you, Emmanuel?
Yeah, I saw it.
You can understand my confusion with it, though, because it looked like the Wisp was being pushed around by some kind of impulse or something. But it turns out it was just the energy drop just pushing the Wisp around, because it couldn't get picked up by a Wisp.
Yeah, that's something we can... speaking of which...
I already did that. I already fixed that. The Wisps, whenever a Wisp picks up an energy drop, it'll refill some of their energy.
Oh, nice. Can you show it often?
Yeah, I can do that. So, you was trying to say something, Bane. What was it?
Oh, I was saying someone asked when is the release date?
Oh, yeah, let me show this off real quick and we can talk about that.
In stream afterwards.
Just immediately in stream. So whenever you pick up an energy drop like this one here, it'll refill a tiny bit of your energy. Not a whole lot, just because if you did like get a whole lot of energy, it'd be broken as shit. So if I destroy that enemy, drop some energy, it'd refill it a little bit. Bonk.
Just a little.
That's a little bit.
Oh.
What?
Fistbump started playing on my YouTube playlist, but I could also hear the Red Burst theme, and it kind of like meshed together kind of weirdly, and my brain just couldn't
handle it. It was too much for your brain.
Alright, so release date, that's the end of the stream. Thank you for everybody. No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm hoping by the end of next month. Originally, I was hoping before I had to go back to work, like by the middle of May. I'm not seeing that happen. So my best guess is by the end of May, probably around like 30th, 31st, 29th. I don't know. That is 100% just a spitball guess. Based on my speed alone and some minor predictions on how much Emmanuel might be able to get done, because you've got your finals and stuff to work on, don't you?
Yeah, but like by the time, like maybe a week before you start work, I should be done with school and I can start like, Because
whenever I go back to work, you're getting out of school. So.
Yeah, and technically I do have summer classes, but it's different when you're working, when you have like full-time school versus like
part-time school.
Part-time school. And
part-time school is so nice because like there are some things that fill your time, but then like you still have a whole bunch of extra spare time you can use stuff in,
Yeah, in general, summer is usually like, don't get me wrong, summer classes, I know I'm going on a tangent. Summer classes can be hectic because you only have 2 months essentially to do everything. But it also means that you have more downtime per day in many ways.
So are the bones of the characters fixed? Because I'd like to end.
Not all of them.
Tails and Knuckles are gonna be fixed, but most of all the other characters not. We were mentioning earlier that the next update will contain fixed meshes for them. Sonic, Blaze, Shadow, and Metal Sonic will have fixed skeletons in the next update, not this one, because if we tried updating it for this update, it's probably going to break a lot of shit, which would take even longer to fix. So probably not this update.
Should we talk about what we want to try to do for next update, or should we hold off on that?
I mean, we can discuss a few things, but I'd probably hold off on that a little bit.
That's the thing as well. I may hopefully be starting work sometime soon as well.
Yeah,
nice.
You said that you are hopefully applying for another job soon, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going down tomorrow.
Ooh,
Nice.
what's the job?
I don't really know. It's like a weird kind of store.
It's a weird kind of store?
It's not a store. It's a place people go to like buy cards and play card games there and stuff.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Like a little game shop.
Yeah,
Those are really cool.
Yeah, we have one near where I live. It's really cool.
I've gone to a few
it
myself.
Literally just opened last week, and I walked in on the day it opened, and I'm like, "Do you have any job positions?" And like, yeah, just come in next week or something, and we'll talk about it. I'm like,
best of luck. That sounds like a fun job. Better than GameStop, definitely.
Yeah.
So there could be a possibility that I'm going to have a little less time.
But as for a release date, like I said, maybe at the end of May, unless we get like a huge burst of things done real quick, then we can shoot for the middle of May. But,
yeah.
Here soon, I'm going to be getting out a demo to the testers.
QA testers.
Yeah, our QA
you guys
testers.
Have testers?
You do. I've not been giving them demos recently though. I used to give them demos like once every 2 weeks, but I'm not giving
We
them
have
a
been
demo
kind of out of touch with them recently. We do need to.
I don't think we gave them a demo since the Christmas demo. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, it's been a long while. I need to get him a couple of demos here soon. That way we can get things tested and fixed up. Because like the main reason is I don't want to sit there and give him a demo full of problems that I already know exist that I can go ahead and fix. Versus if I know that like I am aware that a lot of the bugs that we did have are fixed and like we don't have that many issues anymore. That's whenever I want to start giving the alpha or the testers some like demos, because that way they can find bugs that I don't know exist.
Yeah.
You know what that means? You know what?
Because like let's see. Because the last time we gave them the QA testers, that's when Knuckles wasn't completely done. Sonic was mostly in the same state, and Tails wasn't even didn't have a lot of stuff. So what they're probably going to
move Tails' face.
So what they're mostly going to be testing, other than like maybe the new enemies, which need to be I need to get working on them so that they can actually interact better, is more Knuckles updates with the heavy attacks and stuff, and digging, and Tails and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The digging, especially, I'm excited to see what they think of because no one else has really tested that, and I'm proud of it.
Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to tell you guys, I added a no debug button. You just press 7 on the number pad and it damages the player.
I was going to say, when you started talking about testing and data and stuff, I was going to say you should probably add a debug button so you can do it at will.
Yeah. That
Really
made it
smart.
like a million times easier. Although that's an issue. That should not be happening.
What?
Oh.
He's holding his little thing. Which,
Ball is life, Sonic!
Yeah, that shouldn't be too big of an issue. We could probably fix that, but we'll have to see.
I'm just imagining Tails dribbling it like a basketball as he runs.
I'll have to add Tails the ability to dribble the bombs like a basketball.
Yeah.
Come on, and slam.
The bomb that spawns whenever you're like readying a bomb throw is a fake. It just sits here. It's a fake bomb mesh.
What facilitates spawning that?
It's right there. Fake. The bomb aiming code.
Okay, I was gonna say because
what else would do that?
I was gonna say you don't want to make it so that it's because of the way I changed it. You don't want to make it so that you have to have a reference or like a switch or something like that that determines this. Say you want like the bomb parent to tell Tails what he's holding.
No, it's all handled inside the fly parent. The main problem is with the damage code. The damage code's flickering. It's probably told to propagate to children when it probably doesn't need to.
We probably need to change that so that instead of it just flickering everything, we give it specific materials that do it.
Maybe. But yeah, I don't think there's too much else to talk about in terms of things that we've added or included. We can probably just the discussion stuff.
Yeah. So
things we're planning on doing next update. Obviously, I know I've mentioned and said it multiple times. The next update's going to be mostly patches and fixes. It's going to be updates to some older things that have been needing to get updated, like, the skeletal meshes of some of the characters, as well as, probably some older enemies and other assets that need looked at and updated. There's also a few other stage objects we're planning on including, like the rocket handle thing. Yeah, the rail boosters, the rocket, probably the zip line as well. Those are all things we're planning on adding.
Yeah, I imagine like we're probably going to spend more time focusing on like level objects in general. Because something we start talking about is like, hey, we should do that next update.
Yeah.
After this.
And there's also optimizations. Like, we need to go through and do a whole horde of cleanup. Like, there's just is going to be a whole lot of code cleanup everywhere. Getting things organized, commented, getting rid of old variables, things like that.
And adding C# functionality. I mean C++ functionality.
Adding some adding some C++ functionality to things as well. That's going to help and hopefully boost performance of the project, both in editor and in, package demo and stuff like that.
Yeah. To clarify, when we say adding C++, we don't mean converting everything to C++. What we more so mean is handling kind of like how Dash Engine does it, where we create specific functions that run in C++ that you can call, but like obviously you can still use blueprints. It's more so just so that certain functions, if they're either intensive or are called a bunch of times, will just run faster, but are still intuitive to use, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, there's another thing I was going to mention. I forgot what it was. Shit, what was it?
If it's on the tip of your tongue, best to not think about it, because you're just going to keep thinking of other things related to it.
I don't even remember anywhere close to what it was. Shit, I don't remember. Well, we're probably going to be doing some Wisp reworking as well, slightly. Some adjustments to the Wisps. There's definitely going to be a lot of visual work in the next update, because the particles, almost all of the particles are probably going to need to be reworked, because we're going to be updating the engine to a newer version of Unreal. Infinity Plus will be updated to 4.26. It's currently running in 4.24. And the newest version of Unreal changes how particles work under the hood, I think. How Niagara works, so we're going to have to change the particles. A lot of particles are going to break.
It's going to be fun. Let's just call this new update the painful update.
The next update will be the painful update. And then, obviously, there is going to be Whisper. Whisper is a character we're going to be including in the next update. That's going to be a huge focus. If I had to narrow down the focuses in terms of content, it will be stage objects and Whisper. Those are going to be two major focuses in the next update in terms of literal content. In terms of functionality, then another huge focus is obviously going to be updates and optimizations and fixes and stuff like that.
Yeah, and tweaks where we see necessary.
Yeah,
when we release this update, since we added so much stuff, we imagine we're going to get so much feedback on a lot of combat-related things, especially, and that's going to probably, like with Sage, probably inform us about things we're going to have to tweak and change. I'm not saying that's going to be the focus, but that's just kind of a given, I would say.
Even though we're trying to focus on making sure the combat not only plays well but actually functions, you know, in terms of how it interacts with things and stage objects and abilities and enemies and all these different kinds of things. Ultimately, I 100% expect after we release to be a whole bunch of issues that we are unaware of. Even if we, you know, do bug test the hell out of it, we're probably going to get a whole lot of feedback saying, you know, oh, this is broken and this and this and this is broken and, you know, this stuff is broken. So if I had to guess, the next update is also going to be focusing a lot about combat fixes and like patches. So as people like keep coming to us with broken things about the combat, we'll be able to fix it because you know, I feel like it'll be a lot easier to fix it then because we're not going to be focusing too much on, you know, features. It'll mostly just be fixes and issues, and because we'll have a whole lot of feedback, we'll actually have an idea on how to actually, you know, go about fixing things. But what was he gonna say?
I was gonna ask if Tails is okay.
No, Tails is not okay.
This ass is broken. Oh no. If I had to guess, just real quick also, in terms of feedback, I imagine, like, in terms of combat feedback, I feel like Knuckles and Tails will probably get the most design-wise feedback in terms of people saying, this doesn't match with me, or, like, not things that are broken, but things are like, you should have made this a different way. You know, people saying stuff like that. In terms of Sonic, it's probably going to be mostly, like, the homing type code broke and I ran into a wall, or
I teleported or something, you know.
Yeah, stuff like that. Because if you guys are wondering, Knuckles is actually one of the easier people to make combat for in terms of functionality. Because other than hitbox stuff, Knuckles punches things. If you didn't know, and that's relatively easy to code for versus Sonic literally not teleporting, but interpolating to enemies and then having to have the hitbox tell him to stop doing that and popping up, and the homing chain causing you to literally incarnate God in order to actually target enemies. And let's just say it's harder than punching people.
Yeah, it's not the most easiest. Tails can be finicky because Tails is involved communicating between the character and the bombs you're throwing, and like throwing states depending on what state you're in and how the bombs interact with things. Like they're Tails and Sonic, I would argue, are much more complicated than Knuckles in terms of functionality. So yes. I would not be surprised. I'm expecting some functional bugs for Sonic to show up, like feedback. I'm expecting game design feedback for Knuckles, and I'm expecting both from Tails, because honestly, I'm expecting people to find a lot of issues with how Tails works. I'm also expecting a lot of people to just not like how Tails plays.
Yes, because
I'm not gonna lie, I'm expecting a lot of people to not like it sometimes, but maybe that's just me being pessimistic. I could just be being pessimistic about it.
Well, okay, to be fair, Tails is not easy to design for, so it's not like, I'm going to be fair, I didn't expect us to get it right on our first try, with honestly all of this.
Yeah. We didn't get it right on the first try. Like, as we come up with ideas, and as we implement them, and as we test them out and stuff, our ideas have to evolve and change, and there are ideas that we just straight up get rid of because they don't work.
Yeah, if we were to do honorable mentions for a lot of ideas, the homing delay, almost, I wouldn't say it's not technically dead, but it got repurposed into like being able to use the roll button to charge stuff.
Yeah. The homing charge. The
homing charge.
The customizable throwing arc for Tails got repurposed to an aim mode for Tails. Like, instead of manually adjusting your arc with the shoulder cut buttons, you now instead go into an over-the-shoulder aim mode. Like, our ideas that we come up initially almost never work right away, and we figure it out. We're like, all right, we still want this general idea and concept. It just doesn't work how we thought it would. We have to make adjustments. We have to change it, and we have to adapt it to something new.
Yeah, some of them... Sorry, continue.
Oh, go ahead. You can go.
I was going to say, like, and it's not like they're a waste of time. Usually we learn by doing these things. Like, for instance, remember the homing slide?
Oh, you mean like the homing kick move? Like one of the first original homing moves we were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a waste of time to make because that was the first iteration of a homing modifier. Like we learned from like doing these things.
And not only do we learn how we want to approach things, we also learn how the engine works underneath, you know. Because like the homing, or not the homing, the projectile arc code, all of that was originally for Tails. Like I got into it looking it up for Tails, prepping for the throwing arc code. Turns out it worked just fine for the springs. So
Yeah.
the springs use it, and now that's new functionality for the springs, and Tails still uses it. It's just a very different version of what the springs use, and it's not more watered down, but structured differently, you know. So there's a lot of things we do learn, and almost absolutely nothing that we do we get right on the first try. But there are some times where we're just like, oh yeah, this fucking works. We just have to make adjustments and changes to it, you know?
Yeah, like nothing, and this is it's just a lesson for like anyone trying to do game design. Nothing's ever going to be good the first time you do it. This is not me calling you bad. This is just me being realistic. Because anything good that comes to this earth usually comes on top of a corpse pile, as you could say. Bad ideas that you had to throw away and like iterate upon until it's like evolution.
Especially if it's new ideas. Like it's one thing if you're just trying to like, recreate something. If you've got a new idea, a new concept you want to try and use, it's not going to work the first time. It just won't. Unless you're like really lucky.
Unless you're really lucky or a god in terms of game design and knowing what works on paper first try.
Bane.
Me. I am a god. I know what works.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue.
Like that's just how things work. And like that's it's just a process. It's like music. It's never perfect. It's never going to be perfect ever. You can just make it better and better, or sometimes worse. You know.
Yeah, sometimes it gets worse. So to lead that back to what you was originally talking about, I'm expecting a lot of feedback about Tails. Out of the three characters, I'm expecting the most feedback about Tails because we got Sonic's combat out with the Sage update. We got good chunks of Knuckles' combat out with Christmas update, and now we're going to be getting we're going to get Tails' combat out with this update.
Yeah.
And we have gotten feedback about Sonic. We got feedback about Knuckles. And we've made a lot of changes that I feel are for the better for both of those characters. But Tails has really been a shot in the dark.
We say bomb in the dark.
Yeah, it doesn't really help that by the time we got around to working on Tails, we were pretty worn out because we had been focusing. You had been focusing heavily on Sonic, and I had been focusing heavily on Wisps. And then you primarily focused on Knuckles, but like you were the one primarily working on Knuckles, but I did, throw out a lot of different ideas while I was still working on Wisps. I worked on Wisps for a long time just because there's so many fucking Wisps.
The Wisp took a while.
By the time we got to Tails, you and I are both so fucking tired. I'm just like, God damn it! We need to come up with something for Tails. We had an idea, we had a direction we wanted to go with, and I feel like we did, accomplish that to an extent. Probably not to the best that it could have been, and maybe that idea has altered and changed a little bit since the beginning. But I still think that what we have can work and can definitely
express Tails.
Yeah, express and make Tails a unique fighter of the different characters. But I'm just going to go out and say it right now. I have the least amount of faith in Tails of the three characters.
Yeah, I don't mean to be pessimistic, but I feel the same way too. But
I have the least amount of faith. I have the least amount of faith in the flight parent than I do the power of or the speed parent.
There are definitely a lot of things we did with Tails that I'm proud of. I'm sure you're proud of too. I do like the bomb arc, how it feels now. It's much better than what before.
I like how we got the bomb interaction code set up, how bombs interact with both enemies, the player, and the environment. There's also how Supersonic 97, thank you for the following. As I was saying, I really like how we got it to function under the hood. Even if it doesn't always necessarily translate the best in gameplay, I do think that it is very interesting and cool.
Yeah, and remember, it's an engine, so like I'm not trying to say like we don't have to make it good because other people can.
Yeah.
But if you don't like, okay, not to sound rude, but if there's something that you think could be better, feel free to try to, and we'll help you too.
Just change it. It's like I openly invite you to change it, and like I said, like Emmanuel said, not in a rude way. Like I want you to change it. If you want to change it, I want you to also want to change it because that's the point of a framework.
Hey, Supersonic.
How's it going, Supersonic? I hope you're having a great day. I'm not asking for this, but I'm just wondering if you're considering adding pulleys and zip lines. Yeah, that's one of the things that we're adding in the next update, is we're going to be including zip lines and pulleys. Another thing we're going to do in the next update, actually finishing Silver.
Yeah, it's really going to be like not just Whisper, but also Silver, who are going to be like hopefully fully fleshed characters by then.
Yeah, Silver will be in this update. He will just not be completely finished. He'll probably be kind of buggy. But he will be in a state that is more than usable, and he'll be in a state that is playable. But he could be in a better state, and I'm honestly just too tired to work on him. There's so many other things we've got going on and working on that Silver has fallen on the wayside, and I honestly feel really bad for Silver, because there's still a lot of cool ideas we want to do with Silver. It's just we don't have the time to work on it. There's other priorities. But you guys will be getting Silver. You just won't be getting the most ideal Silver that we want to give you. It will just be a more traditional Silver that you're used to.
It's mostly going to be an iteration of the Sage demo Silver. We have some more updates and like the Psycho Knife, but that's really it. Not the final product.
Yeah, Silver is going to be another huge focus in the next update. And luckily, it probably won't take us super long to get done what we want with Silver, because he's already, like, I would argue Silver's probably about 60% done by now. So it shouldn't take us too long to do Silver, because we've already done a huge majority of the work in this one. We just gotta, finish it up in the next update.
Because a huge majority of, like, okay, instead of platforming, Silver is mostly done because, one, the engine comes with base platforming things Silver can use, and two, we've done that with, like, the hovering and now the free flight mode. Of course, there are other things we can do, but I feel like those platforming tools are probably good for Silver, and we could probably tweak its physics if we need to. But, I feel like that's in a good state. It's mostly going to be things related to its psychokinesis and hurling enemies or moving platform, stuff like that. That's going to be the majority of our work for this next update for Silver.
Yeah. On the note with the free flight and Silver, the free flight still needs some work on it to make it more modular. But what it will end up doing in terms of balance, we're going to by default make the free flight for Silver better than it is for Tails. I'm probably going to actually nerf it for Tails a little bit. Probably make it so his, like, overall time spent at a free flight is less than Silver's. Maybe his speed's a little bit faster, but he gets a lot less time than Silver does, because the whole point of the free flight was so that Silver could compete with Tails. And if Tails could do the free flight just as well Silver, then, the point.
You probably just make it slower with Tails. Make him like a propeller plane as Silver more like a jet.
Yeah. So the free flight is going to be better for Silver. Like, you're just going to have an overall net gain and platforming capabilities as Silver with the free flight than you are as Tails. But it's not going to be completely useful for Tails, though. It's still going to have some use. Just it was designed originally with Silver in mind. We just decided to give it to Tails as well.
No, it was designed with Big in mind. Jeez.
Yeah, Big's going to fly across the sky like a fucking jet plane.
Froggy.
Froggy. Oh, another thing we're going to be working on are the menus in the HUDs. That's going to be another thing we're going to be focusing on in the next update. They're going to be reworked to be more modular. That way, we can make changes to them, and you guys can make changes to them. That way, it'll be a lot nicer. There's also some main menu changes we're going to do involving, like, level structuring and, like, time attack stuff. Things like that. That way, it's a little bit easier on people who want to start off with, like, the base stuff rather than having to, like, create it themselves. But That's some more stuff. Your team have incredible work. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Happy to hear that. Oh, one more thing. We're probably like to a list of things we're going to work on the next update is furthering the enemies also because we've made a new version of the enemies that use the proper AI tree, and this is the first iteration of that. And we gave you that whole spiel about how things don't work perfectly the first try. So while this is the first time we've added enemies, this is the first iteration using the new AI tree. We're probably going to further improve them and add new ones. Probably. I'm not going to I wouldn't hold my breath on it, but you know.
Yeah. What about you, Reese? You got anything you want to mention?
No, not really. You've gone over pretty much everything. I don't have much to say.
Are you sure? I realized it's just been me and Fizz talking, actually. I feel bad now.
Yeah.
What?
No, I haven't got anything to say. You've pretty much gone over everything.
What about you, Bane? You gonna tell us how terrible Infinity Plus is and how everyone should play Momentum instead?
No, I got no qualms.
Dang it! Now we can't do the same to him.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna do a whole spiel on Discord for you to digest.
We'll let the other Discords do that.
But if you don't have anything to say, how are we supposed to create drama? Everyone's gonna have drama.
It gets views.
Yeah, he's right. We should have
views.
just named this stream Sonic Infinity versus Sonic Momentum.
Oh God.
Everyone loves a good versus.
Brought to you by Red Bull.
Brought to you by
Oh
Red Bull.
my! Not sponsored, but brought to you.
Nobody said it'll be a fight to the death. It will be a fight to see who can eat the most hamburgers.
Yes.
That's what it is. Sonic Infinity Plus or Sonic Momentum. Who can eat the most?
You mean chili dogs?
Yeah, who can eat the most chili dogs?
I don't even like chili dogs, if I'm being honest.
What?
I have never ate anything like that either.
Well, it's an American thing, no?
Yes.
It's an American thing. I love chili dogs.
It's also a dying American thing.
It's sad because chili dogs are good.
They are good, especially chili cheese dogs. Chili cheese fries.
No,
cheese dogs. I love chili cheese dogs.
No, that sounds like a bad time in the bathroom the next morning.
I don't know, man. Like, I enjoy them and I don't suffer after eating them, but that's just me.
Neither do
You
I.
must have a fantastic metabolism. God really gave you that. He said, you know what? Let's give it to him, but let's have him spend 2 hours dating the bathroom toilet.
So if anyone has like questions or anything, or just want to make comments or whatever,
do you mind if I talk about like how like I'm just gonna start spiel about us stealing ideas from a Momentum Engine.
What?
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, okay. So obviously we stole everything from Momentum Engine, even though we started before it. What we did was that we went
Knuckles and Jig, Tails' interaction with the bombs,
Knuckles,
Sonic's moveset,
Knuckles
having
punching,
fighting,
all of that, health bars. What else?
Yeah,
the fact that
having
we were making an engine.
Enemies having health bars. That is totally originating from Sonic Momentum. That is
having
never
a big
happened.
enemy with a hammer.
That has never happened before in any other game ever. That is from Momentum Engine. That's where we stole it from.
The fact that we're making an engine is like stolen from the name Momentum Engine, obviously.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, like we stole all of that.
I mean,
imagine Momentum, but 3D. This is it.
I mean, Momentum has Sonic. Infinity Plus has Sonic. Coincidence? I don't think so.
I think not.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly we're stealing it from Sonic Momentum.
Yeah. In all seriousness, it's funny because like I'm not sure we mentioned it, but like obviously when you make games, especially like games from the same IP, other people can have similar ideas at times. And what that means is that there's just some osmosis in general. And there's 2 cases I could think of where there's some osmosis between like what we've done and what Momentum has done. That's mostly like not like intentional. Also, both of them were done by me. So
I mean, it doesn't take a genius to be like, how about we make Sonic move? Wow.
Yes.
One case, if you, one case is Knuckles is digging. You can show it off if you want, but like, we've actually had the idea of Knuckles digging since like I want to say June, and I actually made a prototype back then. It just was like bad. Yeah,
it was before June. We did it during the 3 and Knuckles update. We were still working on 3 and Knuckles when we prototyped the idea of Knuckles digging underground.
Yeah,
it was pretty late. It was pretty late into that update, but it was like something we were working on.
Well, yeah, now my Knuckles is just disgusting. Like, it's a broken mess.
There was also the fact that we showed off Knuckles' digging code like a week after Project Hero showed off their Knuckles digging code.
Yeah, and I was working on it, and then I was like, "Oh, Sonic Project Hero shows off something." I see Knuckles, and I like slam my fist on the fucking.
We were all low key upset, not at Project Hero. We were not upset at Project Hero because like it wasn't their fault or anything, but we were upset about the fact that there were going to be some people who were going to think that we were stealing ideas from Project Hero, even though we worked on the same idea in tandem without realizing it at the same time. Yeah. They were making Knuckles dig, we were making Knuckles dig at the same time. We didn't know either one was working on it.
And they look similar too, even though that's more similar. So. That was okay. To be fair, that was a case of like convergent game design because our first iteration looked very different. And when I came back to it, I'm like, okay, I want to make it just look like this because this will probably work better. And then I started working on that, and then Hero's like, hey, you know what? Knuckles digging go burr.
Knuckles digging goes burr.
In all honesty, I do feel like our version, like, I do like our version. I'm probably better than Heroes, but then again, Heroes going for something different. But beyond the pop out of the ground and like,
oh my god, drama.
Drama. Oh my god. No, like, okay. You don't want to. Has Fizz told you how much I've gushed about Project Hero? Like, just in general?
I mean, from what I've heard, it sounds like you gush about Project Hero. Which is a good thing. It's a good project.
I do. If Hero ever sends me a job invitation, I don't want to be that guy. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying that I would abandon all of you and go work on that instead. Super Sonic guys, have you an idea to get the engine? Yeah, I want to say like, are you asking how did we get the idea of improving the original Infinity engine? Is that the question? Because that's a long story that we don't really have time to get into. I started improving on it shortly after it released, and then I got the idea of making like a lot of improvements because I saw there was a lot of potential in the engine. There's a lot of things that could be added, a lot of things that needed to be fixed and stuff like that, and I decided to bring on a team, and then from there the vision kind of just evolved into what is Infinity Plus now.
Yeah.
So that's the short version of the story.
That's the Cliff Notes.
Yeah, that's the Cliff Notes.
You have to be there to understand.
All right. As you saying, Emmanuel, sorry, I just wanted to answer that real quick.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, other than Knuckles digging, the only other version of us like taking ideas sort of was Tails smacking around bombs, because I was actually pretty much inspired by what Bane is doing in his engine, if you saw. Because in that engine, Tails can throw missiles, and he can hit them. When they hit an enemy, they come back to him, and he can smack them out. You can pretty much play ping pong with bombs, or get the Ganondorf boss fight from Ocarina of Time with the bombs, which I liked, and I wanted. When I was playing around with the bombs, I was like, it would be cool if you could smack them, kind of like in Momentum. So that's the more direct inspiration one. But I asked Bane about it, because I said that idea seems cool. Would you mind if I did something similar at some point? He said, sure.
Hey, go ahead. I don't care.
Yeah, generally, whenever we think about ideas and concepts that we're going to bring into the engine, usually what ends up happening is one of two things. Either, like, someone will bring up an idea and will be like, yeah, we can either do that, or we'll be like, you mean like so-and-so's idea? And they'll either... whoever brought up the idea is like, what do you mean? Did someone else do this before us? Or they'll be like, yeah, like that person's idea. And usually if we have an idea that is similar to someone else's, we try to change it up and alter it rather than just like, completely just lift an idea, because that would just be stupid and stealing, and it doesn't really promote creativity. But at the end of the day, we also try to avoid just, copy pasting ideas in general. If we try to come up with ideas, we want it to be our own ideas. But there are times like you said, Emmanuel, with the bomb bouncing idea that came. Like I would 100% agree that came from your idea, Bane, of deflecting a projectile while flying and stuff like that. Obviously, we altered it and we changed it to suit our systems, but I would argue that was an idea that was directly inspired from yours. And we tried to, avoid doing that too much, just because the last thing I want is people to look at Infinity Plus and be like, oh, this is just a framework of stolen ideas, because it's not.
Well, then again, we're stealing Sonic. Well, not stealing, but it's always funny when people say we're stealing ideas. And it's like, dude, it's a fan game. It's literally designed to be like another thing that we appropriate. I'm not saying it's good to steal, but I feel like people get way too attached to originality, quote unquote.
Mm.
But really, I feel like, well, first of all, if you're going to use somebody else's idea, it's a good idea out of politeness to ask, obviously. And two, the only reason I wanted to do the bomb thing was I was like, that seems like it would suit Tails. It seems natural. If something's obviously something that should be in a game, that's when I feel like it's okay to say, okay, we should consider this.
Like the drop dash, for example. That's just a move that works well with Sonic.
Yeah, we didn't say we need to steal this idea because we like to steal. It's kind of like that just works.
It's just a no-brainer.
And sometimes you can't get there's only so many things you can do in the world, and sometimes someone thinks of it first. Doesn't mean it's bad to say, that's a good idea.
But anyway, I guess to change topics, the engine has potential to be the best Sonic fan engine. I don't know about that. I don't like
comparing.
Yeah, for one, I don't like comparing frameworks like that. I don't like comparing Infinity Plus to Dash, and I don't like comparing, Infinity Plus to Bumper or Bumper to Dash. I don't like comparing them for the directly for the sole purpose of which one is better or whatever, because it's all subjective. And especially in the instance of a framework like Infinity Plus, Dash, and Bumper, they're all built with certain ideas and concepts in mind. Then I was talking to a friend who was wanting to get into making a fan game, and they was asking me what should I do? Should I make my own framework, or should I edit and use someone else's framework? I'm like, well, frameworks are released for the purpose of being edited and changed. And it really just depends on, how much work you want to do yourself. If you want to build it from scratch, yeah, it's 100% yours, but that's a fuck ton more work you got to do. Versus if you use a framework, and there's a bot, I'll handle that. Versus if you use a framework, they were literally designed to be, altered and changed to save time doing a bunch of, basic things that you wouldn't otherwise have to do. So I don't know. I don't like saying oh, Infinity Plus is best framework, because one, I don't like getting a big head about things. It's just something I'm never comfortable about doing. And two, I can't for a fact say whether Dash is, or not Dash, whether Infinity is better than Dash, or Dash is better than Infinity, or Bumper is better than Infinity, or vice versa. It's something I don't like doing.
Yeah, it's just, but it doesn't mean it's not good to recognize our strengths or take note of our accomplishments. Obviously,
yeah,
I I've put this thing on my resume, my official resume, and that's a sign that I see am proud of the work I've done on this thing.
Mhm.
Like, I wouldn't do that if I thought this was bad. I don't think if we do the joke like, oh, Affinity bad, like as a joke because a lot of people give, especially the old version engine, a lot of crap, for good reasons. But it's just like, it's kind of like how when speedrunners say, oh, this run is really bad, this run is terrible. It's just kind of like a little inside joke that plays on the whole thing of like, oh, this could be bad, or try not to get too hyped up about it. But I think we did good work.
Yeah. I don't mind getting complimented and saying like, hey, we really like your work. I'm super glad whenever people like your work, but I'm personally not a big fan of like, oh, Infinity Plus is the best engine. I'm like, nah. Not about that.
Yeah, I do appreciate the compliments, though.
Yeah, we do appreciate the compliments. It's just,
and if you want to use our engine, like if you do actually like our framework and you want to use it, thank you.
Yeah, we're always there to help people who need the help with the framework. But I personally just feel uncomfortable whenever people say that, like, oh, Infinity Plus is the best engine ever, the best framework ever. I personally just get uncomfortable when people say that, but maybe that's just me.
Just don't ask us for an Android update, please. No more.
Oh yeah, everyone's like, is this going to be on Android? Is this going to be on mobile? What in the world? Do I look like I know how to be efficient enough to run it on Android?
There have been some people who have ported our work to Android, and good on them.
That's not what we're doing.
I don't care about Android. Android update 10 FPS 380p.
No, props to the people who are able to do that.
Yeah, no, that's good work.
Because when people are able to do that, it looks flawless.
Yeah. Whenever people, like, I know I keep joking, like, oh, we're never doing, Android on Infinity Plus. I personally wouldn't want to work on Android Infinity Plus. The people who did port some of our work to Android, they did a lot of like really good work. Like I don't want to like talk down to them or talk them down or anything, because it's something they wanted to do. They put the time and effort into doing it, and as long as they're happy with the results, I'm happy with what they've done. Like I don't care. But I'm not going to do it myself. It's not something I'm interested in doing.
Yeah, I'm not interested in it either. It sounds boring.
What's that one game that everyone's playing nowadays? Genshin
Among Us.
Gengen.
Yeah. Game I play every day.
And it has it on the phone, and it just, like, if you can code for the Android, your game is flawless on any platform. it honestly, like, because you have to be very efficient about it, and if you can run it on a phone, props to you. That takes some mad third eye, third brain.
Third brain? What happened to the second?
It got... You get what I mean. It came along with the third eye. But yeah, mad props to people who do that.
That's you to put the monitors 5, 10, 20, 40 rings in Adventures. Did the Adventures... I know Advanced had that. Did the Adventures have like 10, 20, 40 rings?
No, they had 5. They had 5, 10, and question mark.
I know the Advanced games had 5, 10, and question mark, but I'm not sure about the Adventure game.
Just something we haven't done.
That is an idea. That wouldn't be difficult, but actually
40 rings though?
That's a weird
number,
That was a monitor?
You could just make it a float where just make it put,
Yeah, getting that done would not actually be difficult at all. I could probably do that in like
an hour.
I could probably do it like right now in like 10 minutes.
My game doesn't really have monitors. So.
Oh, that's going to be the stream. Just Fizz struggling to put in this this update.
The main problem would be like visually conveying that to the player. Let's see here.
See, that's what I hated. That's what I always hate about monitors. It's like if you have a 10, 20, whatever, and you're moving so fast, it's like you only really pay attention to it once it updates your score. Yeah. It's like, I got a 20 ring thing. Cool.
One thing you could do, talking about this, is just make it so you have the preset values, like 5, 10, 20, or whatever, that will have specific sprites or models for. and then you have a question mark, which you can change the number of to like any number you want.
I was thinking of just for the monitor, like displaying a number on top of the ring, kind of how like the advanced games do it, because they have a ring and then they have a number inside of the ring, you know, like 5, 10, question mark, you know, whatever. So,
I mean, the model probably has to be updated anyway inside the monitor, but yeah.
Actually, kind of funny. All the models in here are smooshed. They're like super flat and smooshed. Versus the model outside and the modern ones. Because they need to appear 2D. They need to be flattened a little bit more and they need to be closer to the edge of the monitor so they look like an actual two-dimensional thing. Oh, that's another thing we did. We updated the invincibility monitor. Reese made a new model for the invincibility monitor.
Yes, I actually have replaced it, so it's not a giant star anymore.
We're not going to say where that star came from because that could get us in trouble, but let's just say
will hunt us down. The big N will hunt us down.
Yeah, the big N.
The big chunkus.
Yeah, and same thing in advance. Like the only way you could get anything above like 10 is by getting a question mark monitor.
Eventual one with monitor question mark is possible to get to 40 rings. I see. I knew that the question mark rings in the advanced series could give you more than 10, but like, you know. But the only models in these monitors that aren't flat are the ring models. They're actually normal, but we could flatten them.
We could flatten them. Probably change them around depending on how we want to do the number thing, you know.
I mean, they look flat as it is. Like when you look.
Yeah. If you look at it at an angle, you just like it looking into the monitor.
Yeah, things you wouldn't normally notice.
Yeah. It's the fine detail.
I'm having some. How do I avoid sign of 0? Does anybody know?
What do you mean by that?
So there's a variable thing that you can. So it's like a lot like absolute value or round, or it just basically takes the number. So sign is just it takes whether the monitor or the variable is positive or negative, and just gets
it's an operation you can perform.
Yeah, it just gives you -1 or 1. However, if it's 0, it just returns 0.
Yeah.
But I don't want that. Because you can't have Sonic have a direction of 0. Or else
okay. So what do you like? Okay. So are you saying that you don't? So are you saying if you give it a 0, you don't want it to output a 0?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Or just simple. If it outputs, just have an if statement that says, okay, if I get a 0, either make it 1 or -1, depending on the situation.
Avoiding an if.
What?
Avoiding an if statement.
I don't want to. I don't want to put an if statement. I want it as just one line of code.
Oh, if that's the case, then just where
add
you can
decimal value.
Actually, I mean that could work. It would make it so that if it's like -0.1, it will be 0. What you could do maybe is, I'm trying to think. Well, you can. You have like a clamp function, right? That allows you to clamp so like the minimum and maximum values are different.
There's a clamp function.
What if you clamped it so that if it's a negative, if you get -1, it's clamped between like. Because you say you can't use an if statement, right?
I mean, it can, but I don't want to.
You don't want to. Okay, you want to try to do it in a more clever way. I'll get back to you on that. I need to think about it.
In fact, a lot of the UI and the menu stuff does not use if statements. It literally uses just like variables that have been multiplied, or like we'll take the sine of this or the cosine of this. As when you use if statements, it's another operation that the computer has to think. Which, I mean, it's negligible. I don't know. I've been really getting into just number equations.
All right, so I just included that ring idea.
Oh, wow.
The visual obviously won't do it, but you can now tell these ring monitors to give a specific amount of rings if you want. Anywhere, like literally any number. So what?
I feel like that's the first, like where someone suggests something in a stream and we literally just put it in front of their faces.
I told you it would take me like not even 10 minutes.
I'm saying it's a first. I'm just saying it's a first. That's all.
Oh,
Forced.
It's a feast. Now, the only thing that needs to be fixed with that are the visuals, which could be done. I'm not going to worry about it right now. It actually wouldn't be too difficult. The only other thing that could be done is a random number, in which case...
That's a Boolean.
That is a Boolean. And that is actually a Boolean and 2 integers to give a random range, so... Jungle Joyride has so many fucking plant materials. I'm going insane. That does not sound fun. I do not envy whoever wants to port Jungle Joyride. Like, report it, you know? This is not fun.
Instead of remaking
can someone
Sonic
explain
Unleashed...
to me the mod Sonic Unleashed Redux?
Oh, actually, I do have that. It's just... It updates the Unleashed project for Generations even further, so that it has, like, all the stages and, like, better physics, stuff like that, and better UI. Main hub is updated some more. That's pretty much it.
Pardon me.
Well then.
Oh, Bane, going back to what you said, I think what you could do to fix your problem is actually you could just add a decimal value to it, because if it's -1, you add 0.5 to it, it'll be -0.5. If it's 1, and you add 0.5 to it, it'll be 1.5. If it's 0, you'll get 0.5 automatically.
Okay, so the thing with that, for some reason, Sonic goes upside down. I have no idea why.
If you want, you can share your stream and I can look at it.
Let me
I haven't really used Game Maker, but it's code, so I think I can get by.
Let me show you. Wait, no, but we're on the Sonic Infinity stream.
If you share your stream on Discord, I can see. And Fizz can only see if he chooses to, and I imagine he's not going to.
No,
Yeah, he's saying he doesn't want to stream while...
I mean, I know that, but I can't be talking about this on a dedicated stream towards Sonic Infinity. That'd just be rude to me.
It's up to Fizz. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. I've not been paying attention to what you guys are talking about.
See?
We are gonna have to... Let's see here. How long have we been going? An hour and a half. Does anyone have any last questions, comments, or concerns, or did anyone have anything they wanted to say for the dev stream?
I think I'm going to hold my tongue because I've said a lot already.
About you, Reese?
Nah, I never know. I know. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
I never normally have much. I never normally have much to say.
I like the work done for Tails.
Tell us.
Whether it's from the animation to the concepts to whatever. A1 sauce.
A1.
All right, I've included a randomized feature. You can now tell it to give a random amount.
Up to a cap?
Say what?
Up to a cap?
It's just a range.
You can set the cap itself. Like, it will give a literal random number between a range. I have default values in there, but obviously you can adjust it if you want. It'll give you a random ring count anywhere between 1 and 50, but if you wanted to make it like 700 or 69, you can do that.
Okay.
Nice.
Oop, it gave me 10 because I didn't tell it to be a randomized ring count. All right. There we go.
Shows off feature. Forgets to turn feature on.
All the time. All the time.
Hey, give me 19 rings.
One thing we could do with the monitors is update them so they respond to hitboxes.
Yeah, that's what I'll have to do.
Yeah, and the bombs, I guess. I'm not sure what you want to do with the bombs, but they home into them, but they don't activate them. I'm not sure what you guys are going to do with that, but I'll let you handle that.
Oh, excuse me. I think, Reese, because you're more familiar with this, what we'll probably end up doing is we'll just add a bulletin or something onto the mesh that is visible if you use the rings.
Are you thinking a billboard?
A billboard, yeah.
A bulletin.
Not a bulletin. Maybe a billboard that would just...
Those don't show up in engine, I believe.
Well, we
Are
need.
you sure? I think I've seen him show up in engine with the splines.
No, not like in engine, like in game. You know.
Oh my god, I have something to talk about.
He gives an icon. Yeah, Ben?
I'll
Let's
know
talk
what
about Fizz
near the
and the
weekend.
lack of glasses that he has right now.
He mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Wait, who did?
Fizz did.
Me not wearing glasses because they give me headaches.
Oh,
I mentioned that like at the very beginning
oops.
because I have the blue light glasses and they just give me a headache after a while, so I'm not wearing them.
Oh yeah, he did mention that. Okay,
Yeah, he did talk about it.
I did talk
I
about
remember
it.
that. I remember that now.
It was a while ago. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Bink.
My bad.
Sha.
We bring you
Okay.
on the stream and you don't even listen to Fizz's troubles.
I know.
You know what?
Bane's about to smack some.
He's about to fucking combos.
I have
us
a
in
lot
this
on my mind. Okay, dealing with
Sorry.
all these things is a lot on your mind.
game. Bane, are you gonna take out your troubles by spin dashing to one of us, jumping, and then spin charging, then homing dashing, and repeating the process until we
Okay,
die?
are you reading the Sonic Momentum engine right now? Because I do not appreciate that. Okay.
Oof.
I'm not
Let me
reading
just-
it. I just know the combo that well because I've been doing it a lot.
Okay, well, that makes me kind of happy.
It also has.
You win this round.
Supersonic says it also has 5 million. No, not 5. Oh, 50, 10, 20, 30 rings without being a monitor in the Unleashed.
It just says 5.
It says 5, 10, 20, 30 rings. I don't know what comment you're looking at, but. Let's see here. Depending on the number of rings, the size of them gets bigger or smaller.
I know what he's talking about. I see what he means. It's not a bad idea now that I think about it.
Forgot.
You're trying to change the size of like.
Total score. Oh, right. That doesn't do anything. I forgot. Okay.
Ooh. You don't do nothing.
Size of what?
He's talking about changing the size of like. It sounds like he's saying the monitor size, or specifically the ring inside the monitor size changes with how much it holds on, how many rings it gives you. I was saying that doesn't sound like a bad idea, actually.
Maybe. I don't know. But let's see. I think we're probably going to be good for the day, unless anyone else has comments. Just
Not display a digit. I think it should just have.
I have been getting so many bot accounts as of lately on stream. There's just so many of them.
Did it happen again?
Yeah, it happened again. I had to I banned it a little while ago, but I just had to send a report real quick. There's just been so many bots in the stream showing up. I
So
ban and
many
report
bots.
them every time they show up because you're supposed to. But I think it's gonna be the end of the stream for today. So
Okay.
I can't think of anything else. So we're gonna continue on, or the next stream will be on May 10th, which will be the last dev stream before I go back to work. In which case, after that point,
I will be taking over.
yeah, Dan will be taking over. At that point, the date in which we do dev streams might actually change. It may not be Mondays anymore. It might be Fridays. I will have to see and figure out how the scheduling thing is going to work. Because I get Fridays off of work. It's like one of those just unavailable days to me, or Fridays. But I might end up changing that. We will have to see. But until then, we will see everybody next time, and thank you for everyone who came and joining in on the conversation. We will hope to see you on the next step stream.
Yes, see you later.
Bye-bye.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.